So excited for my run today. Yep, I'm warmed up. So if you're a runner, you know at one point or another, you've probably experienced something like that. You were short on time, you just didn't want to do it, but for one reason or another, we decided to skip our warm-up. I get it, it's common. But the warm-up is really important, but it's more important to do the correct things. I think in today's world, a lot of us believe that stretching is the best warm-up when I would challenge that. Not saying that stretching is awful for you. There's definitely a time and a place. But what I want to do in this video is really talk about the main problem that runners want to attack when it comes to their warm-up. And I want to show you 4 exercises you can do with your foam roller. But we're not actually foam rolling. So let's first talk about the main problem and what we want to really improve as a runner, and then the 4 exercises on the foam roller. So when it comes to running, there is an ideal way. If we bring out our pelvis, an optimal way of running requires reciprocal rotation of the pelvis. And that looks like this. We have right stance, left stance, right stance, left stance. And if this can happen, and if it can do it in the correct sequence and in the correct time, things tend to feel pretty well. The problem is, this is what the textbook shows, and this is what we want, but in reality, most runners look like this. They lack the ability to reciprocally rotate. And the problem and the effect of this compared to this is that we have to use the joints. We have to start to overload the joints. We have to start to compensate through the legs. We have to do whatever we can to not face plant, right? That's the number one job when we're running of the brain, is to figure out a way that by the time we take that next step, that we are not going to fall. And when we don't have this reciprocal rotation, whether it be from a mobility aspect, whether it be from a strength aspect, whether it be from an asymmetrical aspect, there's a lot of different things, we find ways to compensate. So when it comes to our warm-up, we want to think about how can we start to improve rotation. Rotation is the name of the game when it comes to improving running. And so if we can start to target this and attack it before the run, it's going to make the run that much better. So let's talk about 4 ways we can do this with a foam roller. So we have our foam roller, and the first exercise is going to be completely passive. Remember, all of these are trying to target rotation. So what you're going to do is bring your foam roller to the side, place one knee at the edge of it, and all you're going to do is go into a quadruped position and just bring this right knee, in this example, a little bit higher than the leg that's on the foam roller, and work on pushing that towards the ground. Make sure you stay pretty in. Don't let that leg abduct. And as you push that towards the ground, you should feel a back pocket stretch. This is the piriformis, this is the glutes. These are the things that really limit our ability to rotate. So start with a passive exercise where we're pushing that down, going into passive hip rotation. Then take 2 to 3 breaths. As you exhale, try to sink into it more, and then you come out of it. And then you can go back down. This should feel like a good stretch. Shouldn't cause pain. If you have some sort of knee problem and this is too hard, go on an Airex pad, go on a towel, something that's going to elevate, that is softer and more comfortable for you. So last time, knee on this side slightly higher, quadruped position, push the knee down towards the ground, feel the back pocket stretch. The second exercise is just the active version of what we just did. So instead of holding that stretch and breathing into it, all we're going to go through now is active motion. So one leg on the foam roller, the other leg slightly up, keep the knee close, quadruped position, and all you're doing is pushing it down and drawing up. Pushing it down and drawing up. So essentially the first one you did created that length back there. Now we're moving in and out of it to start to train the body how to do this in the correct way. Make sure you do this on both sides, but if one side's tighter than the other, double up on that side. The third foam roller warm-up that we're doing is an isometric hamstring curl. The goal is to start with 2 legs, but then to go to 1 leg because that's going to promote more rotation. Unilateral exercises are going to help rotate compared to bilateral exercises. So we need to get proficient with the bilateral version first, just to make sure we're confident with it. So what you're gonna do is you are gonna go down, we're gonna put the feet on top of the foam roller. We're gonna start with the heels. We don't wanna start with the toes. So heels on the foam roller. We're gonna go into a pelvic tuck. This is where our belt buckle goes towards our chin. We're going to lift, and then we're going to pull back until we feel the midfoot and the hamstrings. So we really want the midfoot on the foam roller. That's why we start with the heels. In this position, make sure that the chin is up. A lot of times people bring the chin down and they really tighten up their neck. So all we're doing is holding this, maybe 30 seconds, see what you can do. You should find that this is way harder than it looks. There's a lot of hamstrings. If this is easy, or when this is easy, then we want to hold this and start to bring one leg towards our chest. And so we're getting an isometric contraction on one hamstring. The hamstrings tend to be super underworked for most runners, so it's a great way to start to work the posterior chain. So again, heels start, get our tuck, bridge up, pull back midfoot. Make sure we get good at this. When you get good at this, now we're going into a single leg hold to help promote rotation. For the final exercise, we're up on the feet holding the foam roller. What we're gonna do is go into a golfer's lift or a single leg deadlift, but the foam roller really helps drive the mechanics. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start challenging balance. We're gonna get length and stretch on the hamstrings, and most importantly, we're gonna start to add in our rotation. So if you need to, you may hold something, because the goal of this isn't necessarily balance. If you feel like the balance is okay, we don't need it, but feel free to hold on to a chair, anything that's going to help you. So what we're gonna do is we're going to put the foam roller in line and on top of our foot. And the goal is to push back and use our hand to push the leg back. And as the leg gets pushed back, we hinge down, keep this left knee slightly unlocked. We're not hyperextending it. And as we go down, we are going to hold this position and start to turn the right pocket towards the left. What you should feel is as that right pocket goes down, we get this back pocket stretch. At this point, it should feel like a familiar stretch. This is stretching the same area that we did on the first and second warm-up. So if I go from the front, we have foam roller on top of the foot. We're pushing that down, hinging down, keeping this knee slightly unlocked. And once we get to this bottom position, now we're turning. But notice how when I turn this pocket, my chest stays pretty straight. If you just turn your whole body, you're not gonna get as much. We're trying to isolate the pelvis, get control over the pelvis. So turn that pocket, feel that stretch, hold for about 2-3 seconds, come back up and repeat. Again, do this on both sides, but the side that you get more of an intense stretch, double up, do it more, focus on that side.